No. Okay, couple things. There were assignments in Schoology, and they did have, like, due dates, but remember, you just needed to do the practice C 7.5 and 7.6, right? I'll go over the Schoology assignments here in a minute and what you need to do versus what you don't need to do. As a little FYI on how the rest of this week's going to go, today we're going to do 7.7. Tomorrow there are word problems that we're going to do, so this page. And then on Wednesday, so you guys are here on Wednesday, right? You guys know that? On Wednesday, it'll be more of like a review, complete some assignments in Schoology, finish up what you haven't finished up, do some things in the Practice C packet. Whatever you don't finish of that will be your AMI day, Thursday day homework, okay? And then I'll tell you exactly what that is on Wednesday that you need to do Wednesday and Thursday. Then Friday is when you guys will take the test over this Unit 7 in class, okay? No notes on the test. Calculator for sure. So make sure you have a calculator Friday. If you've just been bringing your cell phone, make sure you have your calculator Friday because you can't use your phone on Friday, okay? All right, so we are going to be talking about inverse trig functions. Yes, ma'am. Yes, when would you like to take it? Well, Thursday's not an in-person day, so it wouldn't be fair for everybody else to take it in person and you not. So your options are to take it when you get back or to take it like Wednesday, maybe during advisory. So you can think about that and figure out which one you want to do, okay? Okay. So, yeah. Okay, so inverse trig function. Where would I find my inverse functions on my calculator? Right. So it's right above, so you're going to use the second button and then go in there. Okay, so basic inverse functions. Inverse functions are ones in which the input and output values are interchanged. Given an original function f of x, its inverse is notated as, looks like this. Inverse function of x. So we learned Friday that the sine is opposite over hypotenuse, cosine is adjacent over hypotenuse, and tangent is opposite over adjacent. What's that saying that I asked you guys to memorize? SOHCAHTOA. So that you can figure out, okay, so SOH, so that's sine opposite hypotenuse, right? Inverse trig functions are exactly the same, except for now it looks like this. Do you guys see that? Also, it's equal to what now? What are we finding in these? Because it's showing me it's equal to this. No? The angle measure. So we're actually finding angle measures when we're finding trig, or when we're using inverse trig. When we were using just the regular trig functions, what were we finding then? Sides. So this is a way to find angle measures. Okay? Number 1, A, B, and C, you're going to solve for the measure of angle P and round to the nearest tenth. We're also going to find the missing side length. So the first thing I want us to do is I want us to find the missing side length. What would you use in this case to find the missing side length? Pythagorean theorem, right? Because we have two sides. To find the third side, you just use Pythagorean theorem. I don't have any angle measures currently. So how would I set up Pythagorean theorem on this guy? I'm going to call it c squared just because I used x before. So that's 400 plus, what is that, 198? 196, thank you, equals c squared. That's 596 equals c squared. Square root. What does c equal? And depending on if in the Chromebook they want you to reduce that down or give a decimal answer, right? Okay, so they also want me to find angle C, or P. So go ahead and circle P. We are going to use the two sides that they gave us. Now, you could use the third side. However, if you got that incorrect, then your answer for P would for sure be incorrect. we are still going to label. 14 is what compared to P? Adjacent. 20 is what compared to P? Which one uses O and A? Tangent. So we're going to do tangent inverse. And this is actually a little bit easier, guys, typically, than the ones we were doing Friday. Of what over what? 20 over 14. In parentheses. That's all you have to do in your calculator. So on your calculator, do second tan for tangent inverse, 20, and you'll see the parentheses pop up. So 20 divided by 14, close out the parentheses and press enter. They want us to round to the nearest tenth. What do we get when we round to the nearest tenth? So that's 55 degrees. So angle P equals 55 degrees. I could quickly find angle R. I could use an inverse ratio, but I could quickly find it a different way. How could I find it? Yep, or just 90 minus 55, right? Because we know that that's 90 degrees left over. How many degrees would that be? Good. Does that make sense so far? Any questions? Okay, what I want for you to do on B and C is I want you to find the missing side length, and then I want you to find angle P. So everyone go ahead and try that on your own. 17 squared plus B squared equals 28 squared. For Pythagorean theorem to find Q to R. What did you guys get for Q to R's length? 22.4? 22.2? What did everyone get? Yep, I got 22.2. Okay. Once I found that, I'm finding angle P. I'm going to use the sides that they gave me. This one is adjacent. This one is hypotenuse. Which one uses A and H? So I'm going to do cosine inverse of A over H, which equals how many degrees? 50 what? Thank you. So that's angle P. If I wanted angle R real quick, I just do 90 minus the 52.6, and what do I get for that? Awesome. Okay, and then for C, to find P to Q, I should have done 32 squared plus B squared equals 35 squared. What did you guys get for the length of P to Q then? $14.2 is what I got. Do you guys agree? Okay. Then I'm finding angle P. This is hypotenuse. This is opposite. So that would be so. So that's sine inverse of 32. Maybe. Okay, 32 over 35. When I do sine inverse of 32 over 35, how much do I get? 66 point what? Thank you. That is angle P. So angle R equals how many degrees? 0.9. Okay. Awesome. Next page. Go ahead and cross through the top. And draw these out. A. And then B. Okay, so what I'm wanting you to do on these two is I want you to solve for the triangle. So those are the directions that they will give you. Solve for the triangle. What that means is they want you to find any missing angle measures and any missing side lengths that they have not given you. You guys should have enough information at this point on how to use trig and inverse trig functions in order to find those missing angles and side lengths. Yes?
Is the thing underneath angle P on A, is that a Z?
Yes. So this is Z. So that's missing, and this is 37 degrees. Yep. So right now what I want for you to do on both A and B is find or solve for the triangle. So find any missing side lengths, find any missing angle measures. Remember, you can subtract from 90, you can use Pythagorean theorem, you can use inverse trig and regular trig. Okay? So go ahead and try that. 90 minus 37, right? Which is how much did you say? I'm sorry. Okay. So there's Z. Next, does it matter if I find X or X or Y next? No. I'm going to use my angle R, remember? And I'm going to label this. This is adjacent, opposite, hypotenuse, right? So I want to find R. I could use O and H. Well, no, I'm sorry. I want to find Y. So which one do I have to use? H and A, which is what? Cosine. So I'm going to do cosine of how much? 37 equals what over what? Yep. Put that over 1, cross multiply, right? And I get Y equals 22 times the cosine of 37, so one of the easier ones. So what does Y equal? Okay, now to find X, I can use Pythagorean theorem at this point, or I can use a trig ratio. In my head, I think trig ratios are actually a little bit faster sometimes, so that's the one I want to use. I'm still going to use this angle R, but now it's O and H. So which one uses O and H? So sine of 37 equals O, which is X over 22H. Put this over 1. Cross multiply and I get 22 times the sine of 37 equals X. So what does X equal on this guy? Correct. Could I check myself with Pythagorean theorem, guys? Yeah, so if you want to make sure that you're getting 100% on this, you could always check yourself with Pythagorean theorem. A squared plus B squared equals 22 squared. If you're off by a couple decimals, would that be okay? Yes, because at some point we rounded in here, so that should be fine. Okay. Next one, B. What's the easiest to find on this guy, I guess? Z, we could do by what? Pythagorean theorem. 19 squared plus Z squared equals 28 squared. When you do all that math, what do you get for Z? 20.6. If you left that as a radical, it should be 3 square roots of 47. Now, it does not matter which one you're finding first. I'm going to go ahead and find X first. And I'm going to use this side and this side. This side is what compared to the X? Adjacent. 28 is. So how would I set that up? Which one uses A and H? Cosine. So cosine inverse, right? Yes. 19 over 28. What does that equal? Oh, no, yeah, that's the other one. 47.3, right? Okay, now if I wanted to find Y, I'm going to use those two same sides. Now that is opposite, and this is still hypotenuse. So which one uses opposite and hypotenuse? So sine inverse, opposite is 19 over 28, so it's the same ratio, right? But now we're doing it with sine versus cosine. When I do that, you should get 42.7. Could you have also just subtracted from 90? Yes, and that would have been just fine. So now you have solved for the triangles because you found all missing side lengths and angle measures. Do you have any questions? Okay, so what the work for today is. There are 3 assignments in Schoology. My expectation is not that you get all 3 done. My expectation is that you get at least 2 of them done because you'll have a little bit of time on Wednesday. But just remember, Wednesday you're going to be working on other things in addition to that one other assignment. Don't worry about the due dates in Schoology on those assignments. Just know that everything is due by 7 a.m. on